Before we jump into this video, I'd like you to check out my new freshly created music channel named SubViper, where you can find various types of electronic music with 3 to 4 uploads a week. The link's in the description. Hey, how's it going everybody? My name is WoreX and today I'm bringing you a tutorial where you'll get to know how to make your very own audio spectrum or a visualizer, however you want to call it. So let's take a look at what we are working on today. So this will be a Dubstep Gutter styled visualizer. If you like dubstep and you don't know Dubstep Gutter, definitely go check him out. His link will be in the description. It's probably the biggest dubstep channels on entire YouTube. Alright, so let's get right into the video. All you're gonna need is After Effects and a plugin called Twitch, and also a plugin called Sound Keys by Trapcode, which is probably the most important thing in making this visualizer. Okay, so let's start making the visualizer itself. Let's first create a composition and let's call it visualizer. Make it 720p, which is 1280 by 720, and let's make it 5 minutes long and 30 fps. I'll hit OK. And first we need to create our logo, just like here. So let's start by creating solid, calling it black circle, make a transparent background and bring up proportional grid. Let's pick our ellipse tool over here, center it up and make a perfect circle by holding Ctrl and Shift at the same time, and make it about this size probably. That's enough. And now let's duplicate the circle. Go to Layer, Solid Settings, call it White Circle, and let's just change the color to white. Drag it underneath the black circle and scale it up to 103, just by 3%. And let's duplicate the black circle once again, hit S and scale it up to 106, so we get this nice looking ring on the border, the white ring. And then we've got to import our logo. I've got my logo just right here, and I've got to change its color to white. I like to do that by using CC Toner. So let's just drag it on, and here in shadows change the color to white, and then hit S again and scale it down so it fits in the circle perfectly. Okay, that's perfect. Now I can close it up and make a new solid. No, I don't have to. I can just duplicate this black circle, go to Layer, Solid Settings, and rename it to Visualizer. Scale it down to 99% just to make it a bit smaller. Well, it depends if you duplicated the smaller or the bigger circle. If you duplicated the bigger circle, make it smaller by 1%, and if you duplicated the smaller circle, just like I did, make it 1% smaller than the bigger circle is. So in my case it's 105, and drag it underneath everything. And that's pretty much done with our logo. Now let's just go to the visualizer, and here select the pen tool, hold Ctrl and just click on this point over here, the bottom one, and then while just select this point, and while holding Alt on keyboard, just pick this thing and drag it onto the point so we get a nice straight line. Then get a normal selection tool, click on the line between, right click, go to mask and shape, and untick closed. And now just go to effects and bring up spectrum and drag it on the visualizer. And then in visualizer, select path as mask 1. Let's disable the proportional grid and make the background black again, and you can see that there's already something going on here, but we need a song. So let's just import our song into the composition. Go to visualizer again, and here in audio layer select the song. And we notice that there's something going on, that there's already the audio playing itself. And now we've just gotta play around with it. Well, the first thing you've gotta do is go to mask, open it up, and here in mask expansion you gotta increase it, because if you don't, it will look very bad in some cases, if the mask is still closed. Probably no, it doesn't, but just to make sure, increase it for like 800 pixels, doesn't matter. Okay, so now let's select the maximum max height and drag it up to like 1000 probably. That's good. And here in start frequency, set it to 0 or 1, and the end frequency, let's go for 250. That's gonna give us this look. And here in side A and B, just select side B, which means that it's only on one side. Over here, if you select side A, it's gonna be on the inside. Side A and B is gonna be in the inside and in the outside, and side B is on the outside. Okay, let's make the logo visible again. And now let's just increase the number of frequency bands. Let's go for like 300, which is gonna give us this nice look. It looks pretty much like a solid layer, but you can still see the bars here. Let's decrease the maximum height to like 700 maybe even lower to like 6. Yeah, that's enough I think. And let's decrease the end frequency to 200. Okay, now let's set the color to white, change the thickness to 4.5 and softness to 75%. Alright, now let's just go to visualizer, right click, transform, and I'll flip it horizontal to get the base part on the left side. Then I'm gonna duplicate the layer, right click, transform again, and now I'll flip it vertical to get this nice look. And now I'll select both of them, hit R on keyboard, and type in 10 degrees to rotate it a bit. And as you can see, here's our visualizer, it's working, but I think that the bars are still way too high, so I'll drag it down to 500. Same over here, 500, maybe 450. You've got to play around with it. It's about your personal taste. Okay, so we are done in this composition, and now let's just go and create a new one. Call it main, where we are gonna import our visualizer. I hope it's this one. Hold on. Composition settings, tutorial. Okay, yeah, it is the right one. Main tutorial. Okay, here we are. Okay, so we've got the logo with visualizer imported in our main composition, and now the fun part begins. Let's create a new solid, call it sound keys, and let's go for a scale. We can drag it down and change its color to none so it doesn't bother us. We gotta import the song in the composition again. Let's just make it fit. Okay, that's done. And now in sound keys, let's just search for the effect sound keys over here, drag it on, and it's gonna bring up a really weird looking HUD. In audio layer, just select the song and you'll notice some waves over here. And what we are aiming for are these 3 bars, which is a bass part of the song. So, and just select these 3 parts and you're good to go. Now just make it invisible by clicking on this eye icon over here, and then you just hit apply. And wait a few moments until After Effects loads up all the keyframes. Okay, we are done. And when we hit U on keyboard, we can see that the sound keys converted the audio from the song to keyframes, which are over here. And the keyframes have different values, as you can see over here. This is our song we are going to work with. It looks kinda messy and I don't know what, but it doesn't, it's really not, trust me. Okay, so let's just make the graph editor disappear and then create a new adjustment layer and rename it to scale. Now let's search for transform and drag it on. And now go to sound keys again, hit U, and while holding Alt on your keyboard, just left click on the stopwatch, which is gonna bring up a command bar. And we wanna type in linear bracket value, comma. Let's go for, I've got to check first. Let's bring up the graph editor again. And here we can see that the song is at 86 units. Yeah, probably 85 units is the highest point of the song. Okay, so let's alt click it again, type linear bracket value, comma, and now let's type 10, then type in 80, which means when the value is at 10, we want the scale to be at 100, comma, and when the value of the song is at 80, we want the scale to be at 150%. Close the bracket and click away. And now go to the scale adjustment layer, alt click the scale, which is gonna bring up this, and you just gotta hold the pick whip, go down here and connect it with the output 1. And when you click away, you'll notice that something has changed and that the visualizer is scaling itself to the beat, to the bass, which is just what we need. Okay, now the second part we need is to create a adjustment layer, call it Twitch. Search for Twitch in your effects and drag it on, and we'll go to enable and we'll enable slide, We can make it invisible for now, and then we're gonna duplicate the sound keys. Let's rename it to Twitch. Okay, now hit U on the keyboard again, hit this arrow to bring up the command bar, and now we've got to change it a bit. So when the value is at, yeah, let's say 10, I want the twitching to be at 0, and when the value is at 80, I want the value to be at 4.5. Okay, that's it. And here in Twitch, just go to operator and controls, slide, change the slide twitches, which is a frequency of twitching, to let's say 6, and then alt click the slide amount, which will bring up this effect, and get the big whip again. Go here to sound keys twitch and connect it with the output. And when you click out, make it visible again, you will see that it's twitching now to the sound of the bass. And we are halfway done, or almost done, would I say, because what we want to do now is create a new composition, call it main. Oh, no, sorry, my bad. Create a new composition and call it final tutorial. You can call it however you want, it really doesn't matter, but I just like to have my stuff organized. And then just drag the main sequence in there. And I also forgot that you can add one more thing. It is a nice effect, but it doesn't affect how it looks like. It's just it's optional. It's optional. Okay, so let's just rename the adjustment layer to exposure. Let's duplicate the sound keys again. Sound keys exposure. Hit U on the keyboard. Shit, sorry. And in the output, when the value is at 10, I want it to be at 0, and when it is at 80, I want it to be at 1.2, let's say, to make it a bit brighter. Okay, and now search for exposure in effects. In color correction, let's just get the exposure and drag it onto the adjustment layer and alt click the exposure. Get the pick whip. Gotta open this thing first and get a big whip, and here in exposure just drag it to output 1. But I did it in a wrong composition, so let's just hit Ctrl X, go to the final and hit Ctrl V. And we also need this, like that. Okay, hit U, here in exposure, take that, drag it to output 1. Okay, and we can kind of see that it is changing the brightness a bit, but it is not visible that much. And we want to fill the background with something. We don't want it to be pure black. So this is the final step. Just create a new composition, call it background, and just search for your image that you want to use. I found this one and I found it pretty nice. It's a big resolution, so I'll just scale it down, hit P on my keyboard and drag the X axis a bit lower to make it move to the left, and you will see why in a moment. I can just drag this here, and let's go to Final, search for BG tutorial, drag it here, and now use a mirror effect, drag it onto the BG, and go here and divide the total number by 2, which is gonna put it right into the middle, and you'll see that the image is now mirrored, just what we wanted. And now we can see the brightness changing really better, way better, but the background is way too stationary, and we want it to twitch with the beat, but we don't want it to scale. So so now we want to go to the main composition again, select Twitch, sound keys and Twitch adjustment layer, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Let's go here. I'm sorry, and drag it underneath the main composition. So now we have the scaling, now we have the twitching just on the background, and the visualizer is scaling just like it should. Okay, let's make a quick preview. I'll be back once it is done. Okay, we are back with the preview, and let's watch what we just created. That's perfect. Okay guys, so that's the end of this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this video, and you can expect another visualized tutorial coming in soon, because I want to make a different style of visualizer. I would like to make a tutorial about Trap Nation, and then about my style that I created. So you can check it on my channel, and yeah, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.